get into this, how did you end up getting into something as, I guess, I would call it dialed in as organizing your home for the development of children?
Well, so I've been working in child care centers and schools for years, about 10 years. My last job, it was at a school, and actually I left because the management was so disorganized, I couldn't really do my job. So that was hard. What actually happened is my friends, I'm at the age now, my friends are starting to have babies. I would go to these baby showers. They'd get a mountain of stuff, and they'd be like, I don't know, I'm hugely pregnant. I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I'd be like, oh, could I come tomorrow?
You don't tell them they're hugely pregnant, right?
Well, yeah. But so they'd be like, I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I'd get really excited. I'd be like, can I come over tomorrow and help you put it away? And they're like, you're crazy, but yes. So after doing that a couple times, I was like, maybe I should start getting paid for this. I enjoy doing it. I'm good at it. People like it. And then there's really a lot of ties to being organized and having an organized environment and child development, behavior, brain, learning, that sort of thing. So it really, if you look at a child in a messy environment, they behave a lot differently than one in an organized environment.
And so how does that work?
How does it work? Well, if you really think about the conflicts parents are having with their kids, a lot of it stems with control stuff. A child's doing something that you might not want them to do. One of the biggest battles, cleaning up, right? If you have 20 things and you ask your 3-year-old to clean up, they're going to put away maybe 2, and then they're going to mess around, and then you're going to get mad. If you maybe have 5 things set up in a way that's really makes sense, where it's very clear cut, there's a lot of boundaries, and there are just everything's right in front of you and you know where it goes. There's no crazy expectations. You're going to cut down on that conflict right there. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have to be battling to clean up when it's only 5 things and you can do it together really easily. And
if you don't clean it up, you can look at it by the end of the night and go, okay, that's okay that stays there.
Yeah. Well, and that can kind of, when you're a parent, kind of hurt your brain a little bit because you have to deal with just looking at ugly stuff all the time. So
I look at Thomas the Trains literally all day long.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And most parents do.
Yeah.
And even, what I tell a lot of people is if you have 100 Thomas pieces, they're not always getting used. If you take out half the Thomas pieces, your child will still be happy. They'll probably be even happier. You're not depriving your child by taking them away.
You actually have a strategy for Thomas the Train.
Oh, yeah.
That is amazing.
Me and Thomas go way back. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Stacy Erickson joins us with Home Key Organization. So, okay, some of the quick tips are really, getting rid of some of the stuff kids don't need at all, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I've always, a lot of my sessions I come in, the kids are away because it can be hard to do things while the kids are there. They'll come home at the end of the session or they'll come home later. But the parents are always like, I think my kid might be upset when they come home. All their stuff's going to be gone. And I'm like, they might be upset. And that's a reality. So
they're also upset when the iPad doesn't work correctly.
Right,
so,
yeah. And so they'll say, okay, what do? I say, okay, tell them that you're getting rid of stuff so you can spend less time cleaning up and more time playing together. And they're like, what if they're still mad? I said, you're the parent, deal with it. The funny thing is I've never had a child come home and be mad. They're always so excited. It's just a fresh space. It's new. They can see their toys. They can play with them. I had a 6-year-old who said, this looks like a wonderland. I'm like, I just put away your games, but, whatever.
Right.
So it's really rewarding for the child. And, I think they do get a lot out of it.
So when you are working with families, how do you end up, how do you approach it? How can parents approach it even on their own?
I think, it really takes a lot of time and a lot of focus. You really have to set the time aside. So that's why some people like working with an organizer, because I work in 4-hour sessions. I'll come in, we have 4 hours set aside, we can just go for it. If you're wanting to do it on your own, get a babysitter, have them take the kids out, because that distraction can be really hard. And then really just setting aside the time, I think, is the main thing for most people, because when kids are running around, you're just not able to get it done. So,
well, and then they see what you're taking away, I imagine.
They freak out.
Yeah, right?
So you really have to be mindful of that. And I really tell people, be upfront with your kids too. Just tell them, I'm doing this. Be matter of fact. It doesn't have to be this big drama thing. Mm-hmm. So, really, I tell people setting aside the time. The people who can't set aside the time on their own or don't want to tackle it on their own, that's when they call me, which is good. So.
And so when you're out, you started your business doing this, and you actually work with Cameron with iTex. How has that been for you?
I actually just started, and I have my first job tomorrow morning, and I'm so excited. I own a home that I bought 4 years ago, and there's all these little repairs, you know, these things, kind of like organizing. My home's very organized, but there's a lot of little things that I'm like, I want to do that are wearing on me, much like the organization piece.
Sure.
So I'm so excited to get going. And, you know, I was just saying having my bathroom ceiling painted, that sort of thing.
Good.
So, yeah, and some people can really use organizers a lot. If their whole house is out of whack, we can do several sessions, and that'll really benefit, I think, both parties. So I'm excited.